Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Markwayne Mullin has the perfect response to the Charlie Kirk memorial, and even CNN had to agree with him. Let's dive in.
Senator, I wonder, given that so far today we have not heard some of the blame that we've heard in the week and days since Kirk was assassinated, if that is something you're looking for from President Trump himself when he speaks, a more unifying message that doesn't seek to cast blame.
Well, it's the blame. We already know where that goes. Charlie Kirk was under attack to be silenced because he believed in his true Christian values. He believed in traditional values, as I said, and he believed in this country and the greatness of what it was built on. And so we know where that is at. The difference is how do we react to it? How do we change that and move forward to carry on the message, to carry on the movement that he started? And that's by continuing to be out there, continue to share our beliefs, be able to articulate it in a manner that doesn't bring violence, which the other side did bring. We're not burning down streets. We're not rioting in the streets. We're worshiping. I mean, if you've been watching this, we've been praise and worship. People are raising their hands. This feels like I'm at my church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at Guts Church. I mean, that's what it feels like right now. And this is just the beginning. I believe what happened here when this evil individual tried to eliminate Charlie Kirk's voice, he started a revival that's going to change the generation we're currently seeing and generations to come, and because they truly made a martyr out of him. So this isn't about blame. This is about moving forward with what Charlie started.
Yeah, and just to follow up, of course, investigators have not come out to specifically pinpoint a motive. I hear what you're saying there, that you believe his religious beliefs played a role. He certainly had political beliefs, according to the interviews that his family members gave to investigators that were more liberal. I want to just follow up. You know, you're talking about the fact that this is led to just galvanizing of people in the conservative movement. And we've heard about the significance of Turning Point USA. We know the organization is using today as an opportunity to register voters. What role do you expect the organization will play in the conservative movement going forward?
No, they're not using this as an opportunity. This is just what's happening organically because people saw what hatred led to. And it's not saying it was politically motivated. It was ideally motivated. Charlie's belief or his Christian values was clearly under attack here. There's no question by what was written. His political views were clearly under attack because we saw what was written on the bullets. So I'm not trying to point fingers here. I'm just saying we know what happened. What's happening on right now is organically, because of someone trying to silence Charlie Kirk's voice, organically you're seeing the world take a different view. On September 10th, there was only 9,000 Turning Point USA chapters on college campuses and 1,100 chapters in high schools. Today, as we stand here, over 62,000 people have requested new Turning Point USA chapters. There's a movement going on, and what's happening here is people organically are wanting to register their voice to vote because they won't want their voices silenced. People are changing their voting registration that said, I thought I was with one party, but I have been led down the wrong direction. I don't stand for this. I don't stand for the hatred. I don't stand for this speech that took place after him. And I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying, but after his death, there were some really harsh comments that were made, and people are saying that doesn't represent me. That's not who I want to associate with. And organically, people are getting involved more politically than we thought would ever be even imaginable, which I think is great. That's how you save our republic, by the people's voices being heard, and that's what Charlie was all about.
You could even see these CNN hosts, these panelists, nodding in agreement to everything Markwayne Mullin was talking about. We have seen on timelines people losing their jobs and often crying about it. And actions have consequences. And there are even more consequences, as now we're seeing hundreds, if not thousands of people change their voter registrations, are changing their minds. And Markwayne Mullin did talk about this, but I need to highlight just how eye-opening this has been for a ton of people. Let's just break this down. This is from YouGov, so it's not the best way to use data, but I think this is very telling, and it kind of embodies what I'm saying here. Most Americans say it's unacceptable to be happy about public figures' deaths, but younger and more liberal Americans are more likely to call it acceptable. Listen to this. Political ideology, very liberal, 24% say it's always or usually acceptable. Liberal, 10%. Moderate, 7%. Conservative, 4%. Very conservative. They don't even give a proper number on here, but it's 3 because the not sure is 7% and the always or usually unacceptable is 90%. I find that very, very telling and proof of what we have been warning about for so long. Hey, y'all. According to new reports, central banks around the world may be buying twice as much gold as official reports suggest. Yeah, you heard that right. Twice as much. And get this, they're bypassing traditional markets and buying directly from miners in Asia, Africa, and in Latin America. That means no US dollars, just physical gold. This shift isn't just symbolic, it could be strategic. They could be looking to bypass traditional Western markets. So if central banks are scrambling to reduce their dollar exposure and own more physical gold, should you do the same? That's where the award-winning precious metals company Goldco comes in. Right now, you could get a free 2025 gold and silver kit and learn more how gold and silver can protect your savings. Just go to politabrawlgold.com. Plus, you could get up to 10% back in bonus silver just for starting up. Go to politabrawlgold.com. That's politabrawlgold.com. And fortunately, it looks like we're starting to get a handle on how this problem is seemingly getting out of control. We've got to start off with this premise. Millennials, people my age and younger, actually a little bit older, people about 40 and younger, have completely gone through the public education system. And there you are taught, trust your teachers, don't question the narrative, and don't say the taboo stuff you're not allowed to say. That's what our kids are taught with your tax dollars. And on paper, that sounds like a good thing, right? Well, if you're not allowed to question anything, you can't spark debate. And if you can't spark debate, it builds up the pressure of what is taboo and what isn't. And eventually people are going to start breaking those taboos. And to make matters worse, you get this sort of echo chamber. And it gets crazier when you realize the next step is not college. No, the next step is middle school and high school, where kids start having more freedom on the internet. They need it in order to function. And they'll wind up on these websites of like Reddit, what used to be Twitter, Tumblr. And I harp on this a lot, but the reason I'm really wanting to bring this up today is because we've seen what happens when a Discord server can radicalize you. As a matter of fact, that's how Nepal's government recently fell a couple of weeks ago. Young people were so tired of the nonsense, they overthrew an entire government. And mostly through peaceful means. There was some blood on the streets. The local police offices did not do a good job, and the military finally said, Nope, we're coming in, we're going to deal with the problem. And then these kids were able to overthrow a government and got some heavily needed reform. That's when something good happens. But we've seen something bad happens. What happens? I'm not speaking properly. But we've seen the evil that can exist when Discord's used improperly, and that's why we're having this memorial for Charlie Kirk. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Discord is because we seem to know that the person who has allegedly assassinated Charlie Kirk was on a radical Antifa trans Discord server. And now the CEOs of a lot of these companies have been subpoenaed and will appear before Congress on October 8th. This, in my opinion, is the key part of the entire pipeline that makes these absolutely insane radical leftists who are perfectly fine with reaching utopia, and they don't care how many bodies stack up in order to get there. It is a ghoulish thing to talk about, but I have no other words to properly describe it. And now we're going to see and sort of lift the veil back on how bad this problem has become. So mark October 8th on your calendar if you can. That's going to be a very telling news day, and it's going to be a big day for this channel because that's when these guys are going to testify in front of Congress. And Republicans are going to have an opportunity to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. So I cannot wait for that day. I cannot wait to see what gets revealed. I already have a hunch that I know, and that's why I'm talking about these topics to begin with, but that is a key cog of the pipeline. I've been saying for years, it's not the colleges. Those are just where liberals get to have their first real playground. No, it's the schools, the internet, then the colleges. And if you pluck out a lot of these little thorns that make everything worse for everybody, you might be able to find the root cause. And so, yeah, that's the whole reason I'm bringing that up, is because what we saw happen to Charlie Kirk. So I don't think I have much more to add to this. I can't wrap this up properly, so I just want to say this. The freedom of speech is an important thing that is protected by Congress. It is protected in our First Amendment. That's why it's the First Amendment. But we're starting to see strain in the entire system. And we're about to have our first real test of how our Constitution is going to fare in this internet age. So strap in. It's going to get crazy soon. But we're seeing some good things happen. Even in the midst of tragedy, you can still see providence at work. That's all I got for you on this one. My name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Till then, y'all have a good one.